Now, our book review for today is a book by Kunle Oshobi. Now, he's a management consultant, development economist, and a Google certified digital marketing professional. Now, the title of the book is Project Nigeria, Building the Country of Our Dreams. It's great to have you. You're welcome, sir. When I saw this book, I was a little bit, I don't know, would I say cynical or something, but going through the contents, listening to you chat a little bit, I think there's a little bit of a paradigm shift. I feel like, yes, we could actually have the country of our dreams. There's so much here, but your first chapter here talks about national reorientation as a panacea for socio-economic development. How, in a country of over 200 million people, how can we achieve that level or that national reorientation that you think we need?
Thanks so much for the question.
Yeah.
My thinking behind about that particular chapter, in fact, I think it's very, very critical. We cannot talk of building Nigeria or redeveloping our country without identifying what the real issues are. And I mean, as Nigerians, we have issues. We have a people problem. And we have to be able to solve that problem. It's not just about saying, no, our leaders are doing badly, our leaders are not doing this, are not doing that, are not doing that. We and Nigerians together, we must reorientate ourselves. But at the end of the day, it is a leadership thing. The leadership must be the ones to take the initiative. Maybe a national reorientation program. It's serious one. I'm not talking of...
Yeah, because we've had a number of those.
We've had in the past, but something that needs to be properly implemented. We need to change the mindset, the thinking of Nigerians. You see, I'm sorry to say, the average Nigerian, if given the opportunity, will be corrupt. And we need to, and some people in some areas, people even try and justify these things, as in like it's become a norm.
It is.
And it's not, I mean, it's an absurdity. We shouldn't be that way, we shouldn't be thinking that way. We need to change our mindset.
We do.
You know, and if we can change that mindset, right, our thinking, our orientation, then we're on the way, you know,
to getting that country of our dreams. Now, moving on from that, you have a lot you spoke about: monetary policy, fiscal policy, capital market reforms. Let's look at it as financial reforms.
Yeah.
What can we, in that sector, how can we achieve it?
Well, I wrote it chapter by chapter, but the truth is that we need holistic reforms in the financial sector. Like, one of the problems I feel that is holding back the economy, for instance, is the access to credit. Right? In most countries all over the world, there's what they call consumer credit. Yeah. Even industries, companies, everybody has access to credit. In the Western world, in the developed world, you don't even need so much collateral for consumer credit.
Yes, credit is how you run.
They have credit ratings, they have so everybody has access to credit. And if people have access to credit, you automatically increase consumption. People can consume more. And when people can spend more, I mean, industries, businesses will also sell more. So there's that circle that, you know, you are going to increase productivity within the economy, right? And even for companies, organizations, when you talk to any entrepreneur, any businessman, even large organizations, when they're going to mention the challenges they have with growing their business, it's always access to credit. Access to credit, that's very true. So we need to change our system because, you see, let's say in the financial industry, for instance, when we have a situation whereby our banks, about 70% of their risk asset, that's money they lend out, you know, it goes to the government in terms of treasury bills, bonds, you know, and we are leaving something that's paltry, less than 30% to the private sector. To the private sector. So when government is, I mean, effectively what I'm saying is that the government is already crowding out the private sector. And when they're doing that, government pays, I'm not sure of the current rate now, but I know there's a time they were paying as high as 17% for government bonds. You know, and obviously, if you're lending to the private sector, of course, they're going to charge a premium because government's supposed to be the safest form of credit, you know, risk asset. You know, so when government is already, a lot of bankers, you just feel relaxed. They're already making 17% from government, so why should they even stress themselves to even, you know, run after the private sector? So we haven't developed our private sector as a consumer credit.
You're harming the financial sector because, look, if it was more private sector driven, if they were the ones that, you know, would, if it was private sector driven, then would actually do more in our financials.
Exactly.
All right. Now, moving on from this now, there is a lot. You spoke about tourism, you spoke about sports, agriculture, power sector. One I love here, which, of course, you had mentioned, fighting corruption through institutional reform. That's your 17th chapter.
Yeah.
How so? Corruption is something that, I don't know, in fact, some of us would think that some Nigerians are even born with it, which is, of course, that's incredible to think of. But how do we do that through institutional reforms, as you mentioned here?
Yes, yes. Because in fighting corruption, it's not enough to just do lip service, or maybe you get a corrupt official, you lock him up, you prosecute him. I mean, we have to make corruption on itself unattractive. We have to build institutions that are going to fight corruption. Mm-hmm. You know, we have to strengthen these institutions. So unfortunately, yes, we have some of these institutions, but they're very weak. They're not as strong as they should be. And we don't have enough incentives, as in to make corruption unattractive. In fact, the way our system is, corruption, it's so attractive. Like one of my mentors would tell me, look, in Nigeria, we have two types of corruption. We have the need-based corruption, and then we have the greed-based corruption. Okay. That the need is that we have to look at, because there are a lot of people, Nigerians, that maybe they're unemployed or they're underpaid. You see, when you're paying, even the minimum wage that we're talking about now of 30,000 naira, when you pay a man with wife, 2, 3, 4 children, 5,000 naira a month, he has to pay school fees, he has to pay rent, he has to feed his children. I mean, there are bills.
He has to clothe them.
He has to clothe them. And
virtually impossible.
You know, it's virtually impossible. So the man is, I mean, it's the fact as in, he's forced to, you know, look for alternatives. And, you know, corruption just seems very attractive. Maybe it's the easiest route for him to go. Now, of course, there's a greed-based corruption. And this happens at the top.
At the top.
Where we have
elected
people that are already
the
top government officials. You know, even in the private sector, not just government. As people are, I mean, these guys are already loaded, they're rich, and it's just pure greed.
Pure greed, definitely.
So the way I'm going to address the two types of corruption, they're different. In terms of the need-based corruption, I mean, we need to reevaluate our enumeration system.
Okay.
In other words, this our minimum wage thing. We need to do what we call budget reforms. All right. Honestly, there's a lot of waste in our budget. I believe that our civil servants, they need to pay a lot more. And I believe government can actually afford to pay them a lot more. But they would need to cut down on a lot of wastages, a lot of expenses in other sectors. That
they do.
Which,
wonderful.
You know,
wonderful.
might not be.
I agree with you on that one. I wish we could have more time. But what I can say is that when you go through this book, you can understand what he is saying and get a lot more when it comes to enlightening yourself about creating and building the country of our dreams. Thank you very much, sir. It was great having you on the show this morning. I love the part planning for Nigeria after oil. That's something that I definitely want to read and find out about. Thank you.